Hey, this is Notser, and today we're talking about the anti-air systems. LittleWhiteMouse has written an article that did some investigative journalism, discovered something very interesting about the AA systems in World of Warships. Actually, there's multiple things she discovered. The game in the background is myself in the Tier 10 American heavy cruiser Des Moines. My build is on the screen. It is a legendary Des Moines. I love the legendary Des Moines. I am using concealment, manual A, basic firing training, adrenaline rush, superintendent, expert marksman, priority target. I have the extended duration radar, and obviously slot 6 is the legendary for the Des Moines. But we're not here to talk about this beauty. It's going to do great in this game. We're talking about LittleWhiteMouse's article. It's in the video description if you would like to follow along. And she discovered two things. And we're going to talk about both and share my thoughts on it. So the first thing, AA guns do not start loaded. They actually start completely unloaded. And they only start reloading when there is air to shoot at. So you could conceivably start a game, have an enemy aircraft fly directly to whatever ship you happen to be, have your long-range aura perfectly positioned on the enemy aircraft, and for it to not even trigger a single gun cycle. Because the time that the aircraft flies over the aura, it could be too long. It could be greater than the reload time. This is crazy. Who ever thought of active combat naval vessels not having their main battery, their secondaries, their AA? Secondaries probably work just like this too. This is a weird thing for them to exist at wargaming. It's unintuitive, and it feels completely bad for players to have to go through that initial reload cycle for no reason at all. Of course, your AA guns, your secondaries, your main battery, they should be fully loaded. They know active combat's occurring. So this is one weird bug. I'm going to say it's a bug. I know it's a feature, but I think wargaming needs to change it because it's unintuitive. I'm sure it exists for secondaries. This could also be why secondaries are not as good as maybe they could be, because you have to go through a reload cycle. Now, this reload cycle does a hard pause if anything is outside of the aura. Either it's secondaries or AA. We're just going to talk about AA because I know verifiably that that's how it works. But, you know, if you had your reload on a gun, let's say your medium range takes 3 seconds, and the enemy aircraft was just defeated, and you weren't able to fire your last salvo of your AA, it will hard pause at whatever reload it happens to be at. For example, enemy aircraft is flying overhead my Des Moines, and it's defeated. The air is shot down, or it leaves my aura. Every single aura that was active instantly stops its reload. And it doesn't continue to reload the AA gun until there is air in that aura once again to cause this check. This makes no sense to me. I don't know why it works this way, but it could be the reason why a lot of players feel like their AA just isn't doing anything, because it literally isn't doing anything. It's still trying to reload. It makes no sense that it works like this. I've heard rumors that the secondary battery also works like this. They don't actually start reloading until there's a target in range for them to fire at. Imagine if your main battery worked like this. If you were a battleship and everything was defeated inside of your main battery range, it would just hard stop. You couldn't progress your reload further at all. It would just be frozen. Or torpedo systems. You don't need them. There's nothing in range for you to engage. Oh, but there will be. Oh, don't worry. We'll restart the reload when they are. Oh, that's great. That'll be completely worthless in certain situations. And that's exactly what happens in the AA system. Now, it's not the only thing that LittleWhiteMouse discovered. She discovered something about priority sector that completely changes the game. And I'm very interested to see the ramifications for all of this. But LittleWhiteMouse discovered that priority sector positively and negatively influences the reload cycle of those same AA mounts. So just the base priority, 100%, a 130mm gun might take 4.5 seconds to reload. But if you were to enhance that side of your ship, and maybe you're a battleship, maybe you're the Kremlin, and you spec into manual AA, which enhances priority sector's enhancement, you can get your priority sector to be 150% better. And we used to think it's continuous damage output, number of flak, or whatever, but it's not. It's not that. It's that and so much more. Priority sector is enhancing the reload by whatever percentage the priority is above and below. So that 150% on your port side to stop the enemy air, your reload is 50% faster than if you were to compare it directly to a Kremlin with only 100% priority. And conversely, on the weak side of priority sector, for the same example, the Kremlin, it would be reduced by 50%. So this is why your AA sucks. Because you're either not using priority sector, and believe me, I did not know that it was this important. It literally turns priority sector in the most important decision that a player can make when fighting off air. I did not think it was that. I thought it was, okay, just set it and forget it and all that stuff. No. But this is why you might have noticed that enemy air on the weak side is basically invulnerable. And until you switch it over to either neutral or enhanced, you're not going to have the kind of reload that you're used to, the tick on the target, because it's been negated by that same amount. You know, that 4.5 second reload, nerfed by 50%, that feels pretty inadequate. Conversely, buffing it by 50% turns it into a monster. And this kind of mirrors what I've been seeing, but I couldn't put my finger on why I felt like AA was working just fine. But this is it. This is why, because I have manual AA on all my battleships and cruisers. I used to have it on all my DDs, but I switched it out for radiolocation. I just feel like radiolocation's better. But is it, after discovering that priority sector enhances the reload rate of AA, it puts into question all of these builds. Every build I've ever made since the rework has been live. And it puts into question a lot of players. There are Wargaming employees, there are CCs who refuse to use priority sector. The single most important enhancement at this stage, once we've discovered this, that you could do. This is probably the reason why so many players feel like their AA is awful, because they're leaving their priority sector at 100% and they're not doing anything else. Manual AA, you know, they're probably picking up basic firing training and advanced firing training, both of which are far less impactful than enhancing with manual AA and priority sector. Thank you, LittleWhiteMouse, for doing all this investigation. Clearly, this is going to cause me to have to relaunch some videos to discuss my thought on manual AA, DDs, cruisers, battleships, aircraft carriers, everything in between. And then on top of that, for the AA gun mounts, to not even start reloading until there's air overhead. Just a lot of silliness that I hope Wargaming will address soon. Thanks for watching. If you would like to check out more of my content, you can click the most recent and the most relevant uploads. You can also subscribe to my channel, where I do daily World of Warship videos, first impressions, how-to, reviews, news articles, just like this. I also stream at twitch.tv/Notser. Thank you, have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you next time.